Real Madrid won, Bayern Munich 2, and what an exciting game of football that was to watch. Thoroughly enjoyed watching that game of football. A game of two halves, really, especially from a Real Madrid point of view. A game of two very different halves. I mean, right at the beginning, the whole of the first half, in fact, you saw Real Madrid give away the ball so easily in their own half, mainly as well. They looked okay on the break. We'll touch on that in a second. But in their own half, playing round the back, they gave away the ball so easily. And they caused a lot of their own problems, really. Don't get me wrong, in attack, Bayern looks so good. So good. Diaz, Kane, Olise, Gnabry, that front four is so fluid and so difficult to deal with for any team, of course. But Madrid did make it look typically easy for Bayern. I think they made it look easy. I think if they came up against an Arsenal or something, then yeah, this Bayern attack would still look good, but not quite as good as Madrid made them look. Madrid defended pretty terribly. I mean, Carreras, he was he was getting absolutely tormented by Olise. And obviously Olise is just one of the best footballers in the world at this point. We know that. But he made Carreras look silly at times. So silly. I mean, on the break in the first half, Madrid did have a bit. Vinicius and Mbappe, if they got the ball and they could break, just those two, then they seemed to do okay, but it was just those two. No one else was really involved. Valverde was barely getting forward, to be honest. Nobody else was really doing much. Arda barely saw him in the game. But it wasn't like Madrid didn't have chances in the first half. They did have chances, and they mainly fell to Mbappe. A few to Vini as well. But they weren't huge chances. Manuel Neuer did have to make some big saves at times. But Mbappe's pace, Mbappe and Vinicius' pace, and the ability to find each other with passes at pace is really impressive. And that will cause any defences issues. Any defences. The problem with those two, though, is that they just, at times, their head just goes down. Like, so down. They just, if they don't get given a penalty or if they lose the ball or something, they take an age to get back into position. They take an age to get back into the game, really. They just stood offside for about a minute until the ball comes back up. I mean, there was a time when Vinicius was offside because he thought he'd won a penalty and he just hadn't. The amount of times that he went down thinking he'd won a penalty, and none of them were penalties. None of them were even close to penalties. But he's just ambling back, and then Bellingham has the ball. He wants to pass it to Vinicius, and he's just offside. It is useless. Just get back in if you haven't won a penalty. It's very frustrating to watch sometimes, both of them. But at least Mbappe is less difficult to watch, I find, because yes, he still does that annoying thing where if something's not going his way, then he will sulk a little bit. But he has the ability, his pace and his quality to make something out of nothing, out of absolutely nothing. I mean, the second half going into that was another interesting one. You thought that Madrid were going to come out with, firstly, a substitution because something needed to change, and they didn't. But secondly, just a new attitude or something new. And they gave away the ball straight away. Straight away. Again, the goal was absolutely lovely. Olise does so well. I don't know what Carreras is doing on the halfway line. He had a tough game. A real bad game from him. But yeah, Olise, it's just too easy though from a Bayern point of view. Olise got the ball and he could just drive infield whenever he wanted. If you do one thing to Olise, you don't let him inside on his left foot. And then he passed to Harry Kane. Harry Kane was in acres of space on the edge of the box. I don't know how any team can let Harry Kane, one of, if not the best finisher in the world currently, have that much space just on the edge of the box. He's obviously going to score. You're obviously going to concede from that if you let him have that much space. Not too sure exactly what was going on defensively there. But if you're a Real Madrid fan, going back to the Vinicius and Mbappe situation, it must be so frustrating to watch because you know how good they are and they show it against these lesser teams in La Liga. And then it comes to a big game. And I don't necessarily think that they let the side down today. I don't think that was true at all, because towards the end and even in the first half, they looked most dangerous when Vinicius and Mbappe could get on the ball. But it must be so frustrating when they're your big name guys that they're just sulking around at times. So frustrating to watch. But to be honest, I thought that Bellingham coming on changed the game completely. It gave the whole team a lift. It gave Mbappe a lift. You could see visibly that it gave Mbappe a lift. Bellingham just links players together so well. His link-up play with Trent when he was on the right. Bellingham wasn't even playing in a position, really. The bloke was just floating around wherever he wanted. He was deep at times. He was on the left wing at times. He was on the right wing at times. He was at right back at one point when Trent went into centre midfield. And then he'll just get the ball. He'll drive with it. He is so good at that. Carrying the ball forward, he is so good at. But even then, he has the ability to pick out players. Like I say, his link-up play with the likes of Mbappe. He passes into Mbappe. He creates a chance, a big chance at one point, where Neuer made another big save. But his link-up play down the left with Vinicius, down the right with Trent, it doesn't matter what it is. He just lifts the whole team. The whole team lifted up as soon as he came on the pitch, because he got on the ball and just looked to do something positive with it every time. Whether that was get the team up the pitch by passing it forward, whether that was actually driving with it himself, whichever it was, he just brought the whole team up. And that goal, the ball from Trent, is outrageous. That is genuinely one of the best balls I've seen. That had to be inch perfect. It was just in front of the defender, but the goalkeeper couldn't come for it because it had too much pace on it. Far too much pace. It was perfectly paced and it was perfectly executed. An exquisite ball across. A piece of art from Trent. That was absolutely delicious. And there were times when his Bayern defence could get got at. And Madrid managed to do it. Neuer, like I say, did make some big saves. But there were so many times when Mbappe could have scored. Mbappe had a lot of chances tonight. A lot of chances. And Bayern Munich also had so many chances. They could have scored 5 or 6 goals tonight. And they just let these chances go. I mean, the stats from the game, 20 shots each team. Each team had 20 shots. 9 shots on target for Madrid, 8 shots on target for Bayern. 3 big chances missed from Real Madrid, 2 big chances missed from Bayern. I mean, the first big chance was probably that Upamecano one at the start of the game. So many chances in this game. So many chances created. And then the last thing to touch on really is the fact that Bayern Munich could have had more here. Could have had far more. And they'll be disappointed with that result. I think they've won 2-1 at the Bernabeu. Maybe before the game you'd think you'd take it. But having been part of that game, they'll have known that they could have come away from that with a 2-3 goal lead. A 2-3 goal lead. And maybe they should have at the end, because it didn't get talked about too much. It was right at the end, but there was a genuine penalty shout. For me, that was a penalty. Carreras' challenge on Olise at the end. He's completely just barged him in the back. No attempt at the ball whatsoever. I'm not sure how that wasn't given, to be honest. I don't really get how it wasn't given at all. But yeah, Bayern Munich will think that they should have more of a lead going back to the Allianz Arena, to be honest. And then on to the second game. I mean, Arsenal get their goal in the end. I didn't watch this game because I was watching the other game, of course. But it didn't look like a vintage Arsenal display at all. I mean, I'm going on the stats now. Sporting, 2 big chances missed. Sporting had more shots on target, more XG. It didn't look like a vintage Arsenal performance whatsoever. But they, considering it wasn't necessarily a great performance by the looks of the numbers, they've done so well to come out of there with a 1-0 win. I think if they came out of there 0-0, they'd have also been fine, because back in the Emirates, I just backed them to beat Sporting, to be honest. But that goal is huge. That goal is absolutely massive. 2 ties that are set up pretty well for next week. Let's hope tomorrow brings some good ones as well. But that is all for this one. I'll be back tomorrow evening for those games, PSG Liverpool and Barcelona Atletico Madrid. I will see you in the next one.